What's up, guys? Thanks for joining again. We're going to do another one of Jesus' miracles that he performed during his ministry on the earth. Today we are going to Luke chapter 12. Nope, chapter. You'd think I would know this. Getting ready for this. Chapter 13, and we're going down to verse 10. So 13, verse 10. And Jesus was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath, which seems like a good thing for Jesus to be doing on the Sabbath. And something also that he would be doing on the Sabbath would be, in addition to the synagogue, the spiritual healing people, would be the physical healing of people, which is what we have today. Verse 11, and behold, there was a woman which had a spirit of infirmity. I don't know. It should have made me chuckle just the way that it's worded. Spirit of infirmity. But yeah, she's got a physical. It says spirit of infirmity, but she has some physical disabilities that are holding her back. Spirit of infirmity, 18 years. So she's 18 years has had this ailment. It says, and was bowed together and could in no wise lift up herself. So, doing a little more research on this, it sounds like she probably had some kind of scoliosis, kyphosis, some sort of spinal problem that caused her to be hunched over, and she couldn't. It doesn't sound like she could stand up or look up or anything. So she could in no wise lift up herself. So she's had some struggles for the last 18 years with her condition. And this is when Jesus comes in. So when Jesus sees her, so I like to break it into steps as we do. So first thing, Jesus sees her, and again, it's Jesus. He knows everything. He knows what's going on. He knows she's good. She's there. She's going to be there. And when Jesus saw her, he called her to him, and said unto her, Woman, thou art loosed from thine infirmity. And when he called her to him, I don't know if he's like, hey, come over here, which sounds a little unkind that he might call someone to walk over to him that's in this condition. And if that's I think it's easy to look at it either way that might not have happened. But I think sometimes we have that trial of faith where we have to push through our hardships, push through what's keeping us down to get to Jesus. Like we have to do some of that work on our own and push through. And in this little window that we're looking at, if she did have to go a few feet to him to obtain a gigantic miracle, well worth it. And I love that because I think that's how it works, right? That's how things with Jesus work. That's how the miracles work. You know, we give our tiny little contribution, tiny little bit, and we get tons back. Tons. I love it. It's amazing. So he said, Woman, thou art loosed from thine infirmity. Again, that term woman we've talked about. Some people feel Jesus is being derogatory because of how our interpretation is today. No, it's very respectful term. Back then, 25, it might seem different, but in zero, it was different. So first thing, Jesus called her to him and told her she is loose from her infirmity. So he pronounced something. He said some words to her. So verbally said something to her. And he laid his hands on her. So we kind of have two things that Jesus did. Immediately, she was made straight. She could stand up straight. The whatever scoliosis, whatever condition she had, gone. Immediately healed. Immediately zeroed healing. No time flat. she was healed immediately. She was made straight, and the first thing that she does, glorify God. I love that. She was made straight and glorified God. Um, and then from there, we go on and we bicker with the people about healing on the Sabbath. And we won't go into that again. I think that's kind of after it teaches a good lesson, but I think it's outside of the miracle that's being performed. But Jesus heals, and he heals on a Sabbath. He heals in the synagogue, and he shouldn't, according to the Pharisees and these guys, he shouldn't be doing that, but he does. And it makes me remember, like I like doing financial stuff, and I think it's fascinating. But I remember seeing a study that, and I'm just coming up with this on the spot, so I haven't looked it up. But I believe if your neighbor receives $2,000, you get a certain amount of, like, you're down about that, you're frustrated about that, and you don't like, if your neighbor or an enemy or someone gets a certain amount of money, it is frustrating to you. It is the same as you losing a certain amount of money, like $1,000, I think was the thing. Like, you losing $1,000 creates the same feeling as your neighbor getting $2,000. And I think sometimes we are way too frustrated to see other people have success and benefits and amazing things in their life, and especially miracles. And I think today, how many times, if we saw Jesus, if Jesus was hanging out with us, or he wasn't, like, miracles still happen, all the time. If we see a miracle of someone who is not of our faith, not of our political party, maybe not of our country, or whatever, however society is trying to divide you up when you watch this video, what if you saw someone, so you're in this chunk, what if you saw someone in another chunk receive huge blessings? What if they received miracles? What if they were healed? Would you be happy for that person? You'd be like, yes, they did it. Or would you be frustrated because someone of your belief system or religion or political party wasn't the one who was healed? That Jesus is doing something to help those who are obviously in the wrong according to your beliefs. And I think that there's a lot of pride and stuff with the Pharisees. And if you can watch Jesus himself perform a miracle, someone is healed, and the only thing you can think of is that you're angry that it happened on a Sunday, that is just another level of pride. And I hope we can all get to a point, like, if your neighbor gets $2,000, that's awesome. If your neighbor goes on a trip to the Bahamas, that's awesome. Like, we should be happy for other people and not frustrated and looking for the bad in the miracles and the good things in life. So we should celebrate when we see people being healed, see someone who has wronged us, someone who is unfair with us, and see Jesus performing miracles in their life. We should rejoice with that. I think the symbolism for this woman, and you might not have the same physical ailments that she had, but I think the symbolism is huge, and something that can be reflected upon all of us is it might not be your spine keeping you down, but you might be burdened with other things. You might have a similar emotional feeling that you're being held down, that you're carrying the weight of the world, your family, whatever it may be. If you're watching this, you're probably carrying some serious heavy weight in your life, and I'm sorry, and I know Jesus can heal us. So that's why we go over these miracles, because it's awesome, and Jesus can do amazing things and heal people. But not unlike this person, not unlike this woman, we too can be burning down and feel hunched over, and we can't stand straight up emotionally in our lives because of the burdens that we are suffering. And you think this person being hunched over, like she can't just look up and see the sky at any time. She can't look up. The spiritual symbolism, obviously, not being able to look up, is very strong. And in those next few verses that we're not looking at, where Jesus gets in trouble for healing on the Sabbath, those people are unable to look up. They're the ones still suffering. And at the end of these verses, the woman can see Jesus and she can look up at the sky physically. The hypocrites that he's talking with can look up and see the sky, but they cannot look up and see Jesus. Jesus is in front of them and they cannot see it. And I would encourage everyone to look for the hand of Jesus in your life. I know times in my life when a few years ago I had a friend mention journaling a miracle every day. I think it was one miracle. And that's something I did. It's something I tried. I was like, okay, every day in my journal, I'm going to write down a miracle. Oh my gosh. Like you usually write down 2 or 3 miracles that you see, because once you start looking for them, you see Jesus everywhere. You see amazing miracles. Yeah, you can always back off and write a lot of stuff off as a coincidence. Yeah, that's a coincidence that happened. That's a coincidence they got healed, whatever. Or maybe we shouldn't be Pharisees. Maybe we should have faith that it is Jesus. Let's give credit where credit is due. It was a miracle, and let's give praise to Jesus for having that intervention in our life. The last thing I want to talk about is 18 years. This poor woman had her infirmity for 18 years before she was healed. And I think that time on a lot of these miracles where someone had some infirmity or whatever since birth, or since a long time ago, or for 20 years or 22 years or whatever, like there's a lot, like people have been struggling for a long time, and I think that's a huge part of life. And I don't, if we could have our own way, and I had kyphosis pretty bad and I couldn't look up, I would feel I'd want to be healed within minutes. I probably wouldn't be very patient with what our Heavenly Father was probably trying to teach me. And I would immediately pray for deliverance from this. This woman had her ailment for 18 years. A lot of the people in these miracles that are healed from some physical disability, they had that condition for a long, long time. And I know people here have had ailments for a long, long time. And I'm guessing the people in the stories have been praying for healing for most of that time. And I don't know why it takes 18 years sometimes, and I don't know why it takes 18 seconds sometimes to be healed. I don't get it. But I would ask us all to seek for that reason. Ask Jesus, ask Heavenly Father, like, why is this happening? What can I do to be healed? And what is this teaching me? What do I need to learn about life? Or how is this helping me to become more Christ-like in my life? What do I need to learn? How do I need to develop? How can I get out of the mind frame of the hypocrites and the Pharisees and the Sadducees that are blind and they're not able to look up and see Jesus in front of them? How am I able to avoid being that in my own life? How can I look up and see Jesus' hand in my own life? So I promise Jesus is there. He is there right in front of you. He is there in your life. He is performing miracles. And start looking up. Start seeing them. Start writing them down. Write down a miracle every day. I promise if you write down a miracle every day, you will see them. You will see so many times where Jesus' hand is in our life that we might not otherwise give credit where credit is due. So hang in there, guys. We got this.